to Marathon Recon, a mile-by-mile preview of the 2018 LA Marathon. I'm Martise Moore, the Run Faster coach, and today we're running mile 14. I'm here with Grant.
Hey, how you doing?
Grant is running the LA Marathon for the second time this year, so we're going to find out all about that. So let's get started. All right, so this is actually the end of mile 13, where some people are going to be finishing and some people are going to be starting. So don't worry about those people if they're going kind of fast and they look all fresh.
Yeah, they're not better than you, right?
Yeah,
they
right.
Just started.
Okay, so this is still a tiny bit uphill at this point. Do you remember this part of the race, Grant?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I live close to here, so I was paying attention to everything.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was so neat last year. The weather was great. Just being able to kind of walk through all parts of the city, run and walk, I should say.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Okay, so how were you feeling at this point? Because now you're like, okay, I'm at the halfway point.
I think I was still really into it.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't really worried about it. I think it started to hit me more about 20.
Okay.
But then also at 20, you're like, okay, I can kind of see the end of it now.
Sure.
And for me, I was going with my wife, so we just, we didn't push. We just had a good time. It was beautiful weather, and really just had a good time. You know?
Oh, cool.
That was neat, yeah.
So, and with it being your first time, what were some things that you didn't expect that kind of happened during the race?
Well, I had done a couple of half marathons, so that's typically what I did, and 10K, 5K, stuff like that. I was just really starting to get into it, but I really didn't know what to expect. It's just such a long track, right?
Double.
Yeah, it's double anything I've done. You talked to me 10 years ago, and I would have said I would never run a marathon.
Right.
It's like, what are you crazy? Like, why would someone want to do that?
Right.
That was my thought process.
Right.
But as I got into running, especially the past 3 years or so, it just became something like of a challenge, you know. So I think being able to meet that challenge, it's like the next step. Okay, I've done a 5, then a 10, then a half. Let's see what else I can do. So that was really, I didn't really nothing really surprised me in that sense.
Okay.
But it was challenging.
Okay.
Your body testing your limits and that kind of thing.
Right. What was the crowd like?
The crowd was great. Wow. I think that's another misconception about running a marathon is that you're alone,
Yeah.
So having all the people you're running with, and then just everyone hanging out, like who does that? Who hangs out on the side of the road for hours?
Right.
Just to wave, and it's just amazing. And then all the all the stuff that you get along the way, the mile markers, the water, the Gatorade, all that stuff.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely, if you're just doing 26 on your own with no push from anyone else, that would be way more difficult.
Sure. Okay, we're going downhill right now, and we're about to go around a curve.
Yeah. So what are you thinking, about 7 or 8 that we're going to run today, our pace?
Oh, no.
Your pace doesn't quite get up there with this, right? It slows you down a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you normally run?
What do I normally run? Pace?
Pace-wise. What's your mile?
I probably usually do about, well, it depends on the distance.
Sure, of course.
So anywhere from 8:30, 9:30.
Gotcha.
Just depends.
That's great.
Yeah. So, what would you say? Why are you doing it again, actually?
That's a good question. I think after last year, I used to work at True Food Kitchen in Santa Monica, and I was a manager there, and they all knew I was running the marathon, so they put a sign out. And so afterwards I went there, and as soon as I walked in the door, the whole restaurant was completely full. It's a Sunday brunch, It's like hundreds of people, and then everyone that knew me started to clap, and everybody clapped.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I feel like a rock star. It was just completely unnecessary, but it felt really good, and I was like, okay, I don't ever have to do this again. But I think that I did a couple halves this year, so you just, once you keep doing it, you're like, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't I do it?
Right.
I want to see what'll if anything will change.
Are you trying to get a different time this time?
I think I'm still going to go with my wife. So,
Okay.
We probably aren't going to push again necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But something I did last year, I ran with her pretty much the whole way. I stopped once to use the restroom, and then she got ahead so I could catch up. So that was cool. I got to run a lot.
Nice.
And then right after about 21st, 22nd mile, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go. And I left her, and I just really pushed all the way to the end.
Okay.
So I want to try more of that.
Sure.
As my muscles get tired, and I feel that thing, I want to see how much I can push and just keep going.
Okay, so training-wise, are you two just training together, or are you with a team?
No, we just, she runs, we kind of have different schedules, so we can't really train together, but on the weekends, sometimes we'll go to UCLA and run around the track, do the stairs at Drake Field. It's a good spot. I run about 3 miles every morning, just as a normal routine. Usually take 1 to 2 days off.
Right.
I usually don't talk to someone. That's why I'm having trouble for breath.
Oh, no problem. We slow down.
No, it's cool.
Okay.
So I don't really do anything special, except like once a week I'll do an extended run, to kind of get me prepared for that.
Right.
So I'll do like a 6 to 10 mile thing, or I'll do like Runyon Canyon one day.
Right. Oh.
Like on a Saturday or Sunday. And that just helps prepare me for, okay, there's something different on Sunday.
Okay, so we're about to pass the Standard Hotel right here, if you guys can see. So this is definitely one of the highlights of West Hollywood. So, we're in the thick of it now. There's definitely lots of scenery here. How's the crowd at this point?
Well, crowd's
I mean, the cheering, the people that are cheering.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember, it's pretty good. But this is a high tourist area, so.
Sure.
What's interesting about this street is that there's so many new buildings on the Southside. So they block that kind of view that some of these were open, and so it'll be interesting to see what kind of turnout is there this year.
Right.
Because they were doing a lot of construction last year.
Oh, really?
But I don't remember where we turned south last year.
Okay. San Vicente.
Was it San Vicente?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I wanted to ask you, so what makes you want to run a marathon?
Well, I'm not running this year.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to be cheering. What makes me want to cheer is you guys.
So you're there for us. Huh?
I'm running it right now,
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm usually going to be around mile 22, 23.
Okay.
Brentwood
area?
Yeah, in the Brentwood area. For me, that's like where I feel like people need the most encouragement.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of that last hill of the race.
And so tell me about GreenRunner.
Oh, okay. Well, GreenRunner.
I'm just curious. I switched it. I'm sorry.
You sure did. That's okay. Nice plug for GreenRunner anyway. So GreenRunner is the run. Hi.
Good morning.
Is the Run Faster company. So I help people run faster for sports, road races, and military and law enforcement.
So training and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah, I'm the Run Faster coach. So when
building's gone, right?
Yeah, it's like empty here.
You have an amazing view, but at some point there's going to be a giant new hotel there.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
In fact, that's where the house. No, was it the House of Blues was right there?
Yeah. I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, so that's gone.
They finally tore it down.
Yeah.
It sat there for years.
Right. Well, interesting. Okay, so how did you do from a food and fueling standpoint, like the water, the food? Because with the marathon, that's definitely different than most races.
Right. You have to think about it for sure.
Right.
I think there's plenty of obviously water and stuff, but just having like a couple of bars handy that you like, that you know and trust, because the stuff they give you, you don't really know what it is, and you don't have time, and like a lot of those things are just full of sugar.
Sure.
So that's kind of not necessarily what you need.
Right.
But yeah, I just had a couple bars here and there, and it wasn't really an issue. Water, of course, and Gatorade every once in a while. That's pretty much all I did. The hardest thing for me is always that early, and then knowing that I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom at some point.
Yeah.
it's like one of those things I hate having to deal with.
Yeah.
I just want to not worry about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good call. So when you mentioned that you worked with True Food, are you like a vegetarian or?
Actually, yeah, I'm a vegan now.
Oh, vegan. Okay.
I haven't been for too long, but it's been slowly moving that direction for the last few years. So now I'm kind of full-fledged vegan.
Okay. And how has that helped you out from an endurance running standpoint?
That's a great question. I definitely feel more energy, just in general throughout the day. And I'm not as tired at night. So that's something that's helpful anytime I'm running, obviously.
Sure.
I've lost like a little bit. Not really, I wouldn't say weight, but you can definitely see like a change in that. But the main thing has been just like health-wise. Like I got a physical and like the just cholesterol's way down. Like everything's below level.
Right.
Whereas before it was kind of like I wasn't bad, but I was getting close to the.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about this point.
Right.
Where now it's like it's not even an issue, which is amazing to me. And I've only been vegan probably since October.
Okay. Nice. So it's really
it's kind of a test for me, you know, to see what it's like.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. We have to let us know like what the difference was for you this time around due to your new diet.
I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah. So okay, well, we're almost at the end of mile 14. So can you leave us with some words of wisdom for somebody who's going to be running the LA Marathon for the first time? Like, what's some advice you would give somebody who's running it this year for the first time?
Well, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, just know that you're not alone. You know, you're going to have this young lady here at mile about 20 or so to push you on, but you know, everyone's there for you. Everyone wants you to do well, so it's not a big task you're taking on yourself. You know, there's people there to support you and your friends and everything. So that's really the kind of the biggest advice I would say.
Okay.
If you love running and you've never done it before, you know, try it once.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Be safe and have some protection.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you out there and your wife on the course. And if anybody has any questions about mile 14 or any other aspect of the LA Marathon, please go to greenrunnerla.com. And until next time, keep running, everybody. We'll see you on mile 15.